Hey there, this is Perch, and you know, Deathstroke the Terminator, or Deathstroke, because I don't think is anybody doing the Terminator anymore. Is that it feels like it's kind of been dropped? Maybe not. Um, so I've been wanting to do a review of the comics for a while, but I always found trouble getting into it. I think it's one of the things that I need to do on this channel more, certainly more if I want to get more hits and attention, is to do more actual reviews of titles. But this is more of a character review. So I kind of have been going back and forth on Deathstroke of what do I how do I want to do this review, and so I'm going to take a slightly different standpoint, and that's kind of almost working my way backward. Deathstroke as a character has been around in DC for at least 30 years, 40 years, the 80s, maybe earlier. I should look up. We'll once again we'll test the memory here in a minute, but Deathstroke was a character that was kind of designed to be a kind of key antagonist to the Teen Titans. Very clever. Right from the beginning, the villain was designed to be very calculating, very cold, very deadly, and somebody who could outthink a team. So, unlike a team book where they have to fight a team, this was you can, if just Deathstroke's going up against you, you're probably outmatched. Even if you've got like 5, 6, 10 people on your team, this guy is so commanding, so capable, so strategic, so clever that he's going to kind of outthink you and be able to beat you just by showing up. That's how strong and how capable the character is. And the character had a cool design, especially for the time period. Very very good design. Was kind of copied years later by Deadpool. Rob Liefeld says no, but um, you know, I mean, yes. The answer is yes. But the character is looks cool, acts cool, has good weaponry, and was also portrayed as not a straight up villain. I mean, certainly villainous in the sense that would merciless, would go to any means for self gain, was a mercenary, would sell you out for a second, so it had no morals basically, but still had a code. So definitely kind of the merc with a code, with principles. And then the character kind of, I don't want to say disappeared really, but then kind of misused for a while or just not used, and then started to gain some prominence again as being kind of a calculating villain. And then that led to more the current times where we've got a Deathstroke solo book. And in the solo book, it's been more um, almost like Deadpool. So he's a hero, sort of. He's doing heroic things, but at the end of the day, it's still kind of a gray area hero. Well, kind of flipped. I think Christopher Priest, who writes that book, does an amazing job. There's a lot of nuance to that character. Priest has done a good job of doing a few things really really well in the solo book. He's writing in a different way. So if you're picking up the title, you're getting a different kind of story. You're not getting the same old comic story. Priest has his own very very distinctive style that he uses, and I think Priest does a good job of not totally going kind of wink wink into, yeah, he's really a hero. They put Deathstroke in some really bad situations. They put him kind of fighting for his life, for his sanity, for his different parts of his body, his soul. But Priest never takes the easy road of just fully redeeming him and making him kind of a full hero. And I think in many writers' hands, it would have tipped that way. There's been too many kind of opportunities to make him the cool hero, the cool badass hero, as opposed to somebody who really isn't a good guy. And Priest is, at the end of the day, not a good character, not a good guy, and that's kind of the hook, and that's also investment for years to come, because I think at some point that title will end and you'll move on, and I think DC would be really smart to turn Deathstroke again back to the evil side, turn Slade into that really cold, calculating villain. Maybe you have some action take place that makes the character impossible to redeem or impossible for him to go back. So he turns fully to the dark side, if you will, and becomes more deadly as a result. I think that's there's a lot of ways you could go with it. You can still have him be this kind of anti-hero, but Priest has done a very good job of protecting the character, of weaving in some of the family elements. Of also, I think one of the nice things is they makes Deathstroke's personality and the center of gravity around him so powerful that good characters can come in. The new 52 Wally West, other characters can kind of come into his orbit and are very tempted to turn evil or be take shortcuts like Deathstroke does to further their own gain. He's such in many ways. I think he writes Deathstroke in a similar manner as the way they've written Superman at times, where Superman has such a kind of good nature hero side about him that you know you can't help but be more heroic when you're around Superman. You can't help but steer into wanting to do the right thing when you're around Superman, or even around Batman. Even Batman's kind of a stern solo act, but still there's a hidden heroism in Batman, and so you kind of it naturally pulls you in as a hero. Deathstroke is the opposite. He pulls you into taking the shortcuts, taking the easier road, because there's more victory to be gained in that. Even when Deathstroke is acting like a hero and was doing things for kind of heroic ends, they also align with self-interest and it being very tempting for other heroes to kind of come in. And so I think Deathstroke, when written really well, like Priest is writing right now, he's a strong, capable character, and he's so strong and so personable, so, such an orbit around him that other characters can't help but kind of turn to his nature. And I think it's powerful writing. It's a powerful character, and that's why I say I think in the future, if you're going to tilt Deathstroke one way or another, because you got to imagine he will lose his solo book, and then he's out in the DC wild. So you don't have him join the Justice League. You don't have him kind of throw in with another team book where he becomes lost in that shuffle. It's important to have Deathstroke become kind of the anti-Batman. And in many cases, I wish, they're doing the Batman Who Laughs, which is the insane, calculating Bruce Wayne. The Joker meets Bruce Wayne. It would be interesting to see Deathstroke get elevated more to being a true kind of chess master of villainy. And whether it's, I imagine a kind of angry, kind of bent Deathstroke who becomes convinced that, the only way to meet his self-interest and also protect the world is that the superheroes have to go away, and maybe the supervillains. Maybe we've got to get these superpowers out so normal people can live their lives. And Deathstroke hatches this master plan, and then enlists people like Black Adam and others to kind of enact that plan. But he's this kind of masterfully trying to take players off the board, very much in a way that Batman would. I think that's why Batman and Deathstroke should be going toe to toe in a lot of cases, and they have done that. They have done that comic. They've done the comic where there was the who's Damian Wayne's father, and is Deathstroke kind of more central to all this than previously known. But they pull out short, and they're able to say that they're evenly matched, but still, Deathstroke has got his little team book, his little solo book, and Batman's got 8 different titles and everything else. So it's really not a question. They've done a good job of at least saying they can dance together, but they haven't really made Deathstroke a super threat just yet. And I think that's something that I hope to see. I think that's the evolution of the character. But the only way I think they can do it is by him going bad. The other thing option you can do for Deathstroke is build around the outsiders and have Deathstroke take that team. But that's very simple, very similar to what Deathstroke's current team that just recently happened about 6 months ago or so in his solo book. They just kind of toyed with this idea. But Deathstroke is a really formidable villain. I think is really powerful. But good character. One of DC's best, I think, and that's why I think you got to preserve him as being more of a villain than a hero, because you've got, DC has a lot of characters and they have a lot of villains. They have a lot of very noteworthy villains, but they have a lack of villains who, are really cold, really calculating, really ones that can mess things up, not in a chaotic way, but in a very planned, very, exacting way. And I think Deathstroke is a very dangerous character when written right. And so I think he's one of easily DC's best hero, anti-hero villain kind of characters. Definitely a lot of upside to that, and I can't stress enough. Priest has done absolutely incredible job with that character, but that's where I think Deathstroke is at, where he's going, and it's kind of, that's one of their true success stories, is that character. So, what do you think? You a big Deathstroke fan? Never had much interest. Don't know who he is. Wanting to know where to go look him up. Uh, you know, lots of places you can do that. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Subscribe, hit notification, like the video if you wouldn't mind. Tell a friend, and follow me on social media. I'm at Comic Perch at Twitter. And thanks for listening.